We love to hear stories of how God works in big, miraculous ways, but He's also moving in everyday moments. My name is Terry Dorsett, and I serve as the Executive Director of the BC&E. In this video, I want to share how a simple, ordinary experience revealed a powerful spiritual truth, and how we can start seeing God's hand in our daily lives. One summer, my family went to the beach for a vacation. It was just before my sons went off to college. While we were there, one day we saw this young man, about the same age as my sons, come staggering across the boardwalk at the beach. He could barely walk. He was so drunk. Before he got to us, he had to lean over and empty the contents of his stomach because he had drank so much. He eventually staggered over to near where we were at and collapsed on a bench. It wasn't long before his father, who was probably the same age as me, came looking for him. They had a fairly intense conversation, as you can imagine, and it was hard not for us to overhear it. We were just standing a few feet away. We listened to it all and, exchanged looks between my sons and I, and it was an awkward moment for sure for all of us as we stood there just a few feet from each other. We stayed there at the beach for about a week, and we saw their family numerous times. They saw us numerous times. I wouldn't say that we became friends, but it was one of those things where we sort of waved at each other each time we'd see each other. Sadly, it became clear as the week progressed that excessive alcohol drinking, as well as numerous other excessive issues, was clearly that young man's problem. It was really sad to watch, and clearly he was a young man who was struggling. And at one point, I turned to both of my sons, and said to them, "I hope that you and I never have to have a conversation like that man and his son are having." They assured me that we would never have to have that conversation, because our family was built upon a solid foundation. And thankfully, they never had those kinds of experiences in their lives. Toward the end of the week, we got involved in a sandcastle building contest that someone at the beach was hosting, and we tried to build the best sandcastle that we could. I don't know if it was a great sandcastle, but we were pretty proud of it. And about the time we got it finished, that's about when the tide rolled in and, of course, washed all the sandcastles away. It was hard not to think of the whole week and the sandcastles and that young man's family and our family. It was hard not to think of all of that and remember the story that Jesus told in Matthew chapter 7, verses 24 through 27. "Therefore, everyone who hears these words of mine and acts on them will be like a sensible man who built his house on the rock. The rain fell and the rivers rose and the winds blew and pounded that house. Yet it didn't collapse because its foundation was on the rock. That everyone who hears these words of mine and doesn't act on them will be like a foolish man who built his house on the sand. The rain fell, the rivers rose, the winds blew and pounded that house, and it collapsed, and its collapse was great." Now, no family's perfect, but if we build our families on the rock of Jesus Christ, I believe that we can endure the struggles that life brings to us. What are you building your family on? Build it upon Christ. You won't be disappointed. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, remember to like and subscribe so you don't miss what's next. And if you want to support our work in New England, you'll find a link in the description.